Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go! Okay, bro, please tell me that was your idea at the Portland Pickles game where the fan gets up and hits the home run. That was unbelievable. How do you and how do you do that within league rules?
Well, that's a great question. So first of all, we have two different teams that play out of the stadium in Portland. We have the Portland Pickles, who are a member of the West Coast League, made up of almost all Division I athletes. Lots in our boats get drafted. We had 5 guys drafted this year, 4 guys drafted this year, 5 guys drafted this year. So it's a lot like the WHL. It's the best amateur baseball in the world.
Yep.
Then when they're on the road, we have what we call the Portland Pickle All-Stars, which is alumni, local guys that used to play in the majors, and we can have a little more fun with that.
Okay.
And they play against other junior college teams that we own, and so it was a Portland Pickle All-Star game. So we play a little loose with the rules. So we had a fan come up, taking that bat, and I was at the game, and this kid gets in the at bat circle, and I'm like, okay, this kid's played some baseball before. You can tell when a guy picks up a bat, and he is swinging out of his frickin' shoes. Like, this guy's going for it. And what you'd see, the video that just went viral was actually his second at bat. His first at bat, he worked like a 7 or 8 pitch count, got a walk, stole second base. I'm like, okay, this kid's real. And then, second at bat, got up there and hit a home run.
That's outstanding. So you didn't answer my question. Was that your idea?
That was not my idea. That was not. I'm very proud of my staff to come up with that. I was actually at the game, and I was like, I didn't even know we were doing it. So it was definitely not my idea. But I was very proud of them to come up with that. And we looked into this kid after, and he had played Division III baseball. So he was no stranger to a little baseball game. I also looked up at his stats. He had like 1 home run in his whole career in college baseball. So that was like his second home run ever. So some people are like, you brought in a ringer. I'm like, I wouldn't have brought in a Division III bench player if I was going to bring in a ringer. No offense to the kid,
Yeah. That's the first thing. That's the first thing I thought of. Like when you see a WWE event, you see a ringside fan. It's like, well, that guy's actually probably a wrestler. He's a
sure, yeah.
He's a plant, so that's the first thing I thought. So you know what? That's an awesome idea. And I kind of want to piggyback that into, so Montreal, the Alouettes game coming up here, they are inviting fans, like Edmonton's going there, they're inviting, fans to come out and get autographs from like Andre Dawson and a whole bunch of former Expos at the game. And then
that's really cool.
And the Hamilton Tiger Cats are bringing in Shea Gilgeous-Alexander from Oklahoma City. He actually grew up a Tiger Cats fan.
Yeah.
So my question is, why the hell can't the Argos get Drake in or some Maple Leaf guys? They own the same fucking teams.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto should be able to have whoever. I mean, Toronto's the New York of Canada. They should be able to get in whoever they want in there if they want to do a big publicity thing. Drake, I'm sure, would be on the next Drake flight to wherever to help them out there. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, like, at least CFL teams are trying now. Doman's trying. Yeah. Some teams are trying. So that's some good news on that front. But just talk about, like, look at all the, what'd you get? How many views did you get across all your platforms?
It was in the millions. We were on Good Morning America. We were on TSN. We were on ESPN. We were on every major news outlet in the country. And, that's 100% free advertising just for doing something stupid like we always do, And trust me, we've tried a million stupid things, and half of them work out great, half of them work out terrible. None of them's ever worked out this great. It's like there's never in a million years that I think this kid was going to hit a home run. It's like it couldn't have been better.
Well, man, that's awesome. When I saw that, even though it wasn't your idea, that had John Ryan written all over it. I love it. Okay, so I'm watching this. We've talked about global kickers and all that stuff, okay? But you got to give credit where credit's due. Jose Maltos Diaz, his last 3 field goals have been 58, 56, and then he hit a 54-yarder in the rain. Just talk about how, I mean, we just sloughed that off. Remember, we talked about this before. Remember when the guy would come on and he would kick a 48-yard field goal or 50-yard field goal, and you'd be like, "Ooh."
Yeah. Even in the NFL. Even in the NFL.
Yeah. Now if he doesn't hit it consistently, you're like, "Well, what's he even in the big leagues for?"
Yeah, it's crazy how good these kickers have gotten. I believe he's from Mexico, is he not?
Yeah, he's a Mexican.
Yeah, okay. Which is great for the Mexican game over there, because it's growing in popularity too. But kickers are getting so good now. Whereas I remember even like when I came into the league 20 years ago, every kicker, I just want one field goal over 50 yards, so it says along a 50 when on the back of my card. And now it's like 50 is like a walk in the park.
Yeah,
you know, and we kind of forget that kickers back even in the 80s, 70s, kickers were like 65%.
Mm-hmm.
And now if you're not 80%, you're barely making a team. And I had a conversation with the guy in Edmonton once, and he goes, Dave Cutler. And I'm not taking anything away from Dave Cutler because he was the best kicker of his time. But he goes, Dave Cutler never missed. He never missed. I go, the guy had a career 65% average.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be able to. Today. He wouldn't be able to make a Canadian college team.
No,
and I'm not slighting him. He's in the Hall of Fame. But these guys now are so freaking good. It's incredible. So I just want everyone to respect how good these guys have gotten.
So is it harder to kick off of like in a wet grass field or the wet turf? That might sound like a dumb question, but I don't think it's as dumb as you think.
No, wet grass, because it's all about your plant foot. And if your plant foot slides a little bit forward, all of a sudden where you thought you were going to hit the ball, and now you're, an eighth of an inch up or a half an inch up or whatever, you're completely hitting that ball different. Okay. Even if a field turf is wet, your footing still stays the same for the most part. So it's easier to kick on a field turf field in weather like that.
I see Julian got released by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jake Julian got released, so it'll be interesting to see if he catches on there or comes back to the CFL.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Punter's a weapon, man. That guy was a weapon when he took over from you.
Oof. He had an outstanding year last year. I mean, and they needed a good punter last year. But I talked to him a few times last year, and just a great kid, and just a crazy amount of talent, so I hope he catches on somewhere else down south. That'd be pretty cool. Now,
like Darren Bennett, the old punter for the Chargers. Mm-hmm. I remember when I'm a Chargers fan. I remember the first time I watched the game, he punted it, beat everybody downfield, and made the tackle because he's an Aussie rules guy. Even Dickie said, we're in practice, because Dickie was the coach. He goes, we're in practice, and I'm watching this guy go down, and like he's blowing by Seo and everybody, Rodney Harrison making the tackle. So I don't know how much of a athletic specimen he looked like, but he obviously was an athlete. And you are a specimen. Like you still keep in great shape. But were you as probably the most athletic kicker of your time? Like, athletic looking at least? Like,
oh man. I would like to think I was. Whether or not that's true, Steve Weatherford, I think he was the cathlete. The guy's he's absolutely a ripped up punter in the time that I played with him. And there's so many punters who are great soccer players. The Pat McAfees. Johnny Hecker played quarterback in high school, and I think he's had about 20 pass attempts in the NFL, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But, I was just kind of prided myself, and, I worked out with the linebackers. I worked out with the running backs. I didn't want to, especially, we're talking over 20 years ago when it wasn't quite up to where it is now, where you have all these guys who are great athletes. And, back then, it was still kind of turning. We're getting away from the Paul Osbaldisons, the guys like that. No slight to him, he was a great punter and kicker, one of the best ever at CFL. But it started to turn right around that time in the early 2000s, where it kind of came, and that's why you see punters are so good right now.
Would you have been, now don't take this the wrong way, I respect your talent. Would you have been on the Seattle Seahawks all-time 50 team if you didn't complete that pass to send you to the NFC Championship game?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. It's I was not to toot my own horn, but I was on the 40th anniversary team before that pass ever happened.
Okay.
So I was the top 40 in 40. So I mean, who knows? I would like to think I was.
Okay, so why do you think you were, like, no disrespect, but people don't think of a punter. I think more punters should be in the Hall of Fame because it's a great guy and nobody else. But why do you think you were on the all 40 and all 50 team? Like, why do you, in your own words?
It was, I had a relationship with the fans in Seattle. I had a relationship with the media. As a kid, I was, to play in the NFL, was beyond anything I ever thought. And then to be embraced by the people in Seattle the way I was and be taken in and just be kind of, almost like a folk hero, to be honest with you. People wearing my jerseys, I was like, I had no clue where this came from. And they really just took to me and I took to them. And it was just kind of a love affair. And I don't necessarily know exactly how it happened, but, I still go back there and, I'm stopped on the street every block, and it's absolutely incredible. I don't know how it happened, but I love every minute of it, and just I think part of that, just the way that I embraced the fans and the fans embraced me, really kind of helped my popularity a little bit. And as I said, I don't really know how it happened.
Well, you deserve it. I was just wondering
Thank
your
you.
words.
No,
what you
yeah.
thought. Okay, so do you think this Travis Hunter guy can play both ways?
Oh, man.
Devontae Adams says, I take nothing away from the kid, but I don't see how he could play at a high level both ways for the Jags.
Do I think he can? Yes. Do I think he will? No. You know what I mean? When you're coming into the NFL as a rookie, to learn that offensive playbook is rough. It is rough. It's not something that happens in a month or 2 months or 3 months, or a lot of times even in one season. So to be learning that and also be playing defense at the same time, what you don't realize is those 4 hours before practice, when everyone's in the offensive meetings, now you have to split your time between the meetings. Now you're on the field, you're having to split your time on the field. And you look at a game, and you're looking at 60 to 70 plays on offense, same on defense. And you look at a season over 17 games, and it's really hard to stay healthy over 17 games just playing offense. And now you're playing both ways. I don't think it's humanly possible to do that in the NFL full time.
So
is there a world where they have a package for him in offense and he plays 30 plays on offense and 40 plays on defense? I can see that happening. Him playing every down on offense, I don't think it's humanly possible in the NFL.
No, and I agree with you. So having said that, we talked about athleticism. Who's the best athlete you've ever played with, either CFL, NFL, or pick one from each league?
Oh, man, I played with a lot of great athletes. I played with so many great players in the CFL. You look at a lot of the punt returners. I didn't play with them. I missed them by a couple of years, but Gizmo Williams. Mm-hmm. I mean, that guy was absolutely insane. I played with so many great athletes
Pinball would be one. Pinball would be one, right?
Pinner was. I'm having a total brain fart on the name right now, so I'm looking it up.
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. It's Ballsy Uncut. You can do whatever you want. You're talking CFL or NFL here?
NFL.
What team?
Seattle. Played in the Super Bowl 2014. He didn't play all year. Played in the Super Bowl in 2013, I guess.
Who was that?
He played for Minnesota. He always had migraine problems.
Oh yeah, what the hell's his name? Oh,
why can't I think of? I mean, I played him. I love the guy.
Dude, what's his name? Oh my God, I know that too. Oh God, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Oh damn it! Now we can't. We have to stop down. We both have to.
Percy Harvin.
Percy
Harvin. If he hears this, he'll kick my ass. He knows I love him.
Yeah.
Percy Harvin was the greatest athlete I've ever played with in my entire life. And second place is pretty far behind.
Really?
This guy was ridiculous. He was so fast. His biggest problem is he worked out so hard. It's like his body was too big to handle his frame. Mm-hmm. Like the bone structure couldn't handle what he put on it. He played with absolutely no regard for his body. And we always had on a kick return. He was a kick returner, one of the greatest kick returners I've ever seen. And we always said the wall. Now by the end it was a 2-man wall. The 2-man wall would set up 14 yards in front of him when he caught the ball. Mm-hmm. Then when Percy got there, we said, okay, we got to go, because he's so quick, we got to go 18 yards.
Okay.
And then after Percy played with us, our Brian Schneider, the specialty coach, goes, there's no distance far enough away that you can be, because he's going to catch up to you. So just wherever you set the wall, because he's going to catch you. And I'll never forget, we're up 22-0 in the Super Bowl. He hadn't played all year. He played 2 or 3 games all year. They kept him on the roster all year in case he could play in the Super Bowl. Lo and behold, he plays in the Super Bowl. We're up 22-0 at half. They kick the ball off. We miss every frickin' block on the field. We completely screw up the entire return. There's not one player blocked. He returns it to the house. We're up 29-0. This guy was a freak. And I wish, and I always say this because, staying healthy is 90% of the NFL. He couldn't stay healthy. Every year he was playing 7 or 8 games. But had he been able to play 15, 16 games, he would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer and one of the greatest players ever to play.
Yeah, probably.
If you go back and look at some of those highlight films, Ballsy, he is ridiculous. He's better than everyone else on the field, and it's so hard to do that in the NFL.
So some of it was injury, and I think some of it maybe, in my opinion, was a little bit of, maybe I'm wrong, a little bit of lack of motivation too. Like he didn't have that desire to be the greatest. Like he naturally was great, but from the outside, that's what it seemed like. I know he had migraines, he was banged up, but it seemed like he didn't have that stick-to-itiveness to be the greatest.
From the inside, I didn't see that. He had a great work ethic. He was in the weight room all the time. A great teammate. If you ever did him wrong, he'd never talk to you again, though. he was. You had to stay loyal to him, and that's a lot of the way a lot of us work in this world. But just it was hard to see him go because I was like, man, if this guy could just stay on the field, he would be something we'd talk about for the next 50 years.
So, what about one more guy? What about Devin Hester? I always think of Devin Hester. You played against Devin Hester.
When you look at a guy like Devin Hester, you look at a guy. You look at Joe Montana. He changed the way quarterbacks play. Yeah. Okay. You look at other positions on the field. Even Marshawn Lynch changed the way running backs play. Walter Payton changed the way running backs play. It takes a special guy. You don't say Devin Hester changed the way returners play. He changed the way punters punt. So when you're so good, you're changing what the other team has done. And I was the first guy to ever kick an end-over-end punt in the open field to try to control Devin Hester. And when I did that, it caught on because a lot of people were like, I don't care if I have a 35-yard net. Everyone else has a 40-yard net. That's fine if you're going against anyone else. If you're going against Devin Hester, I'll kick the ball straight in the frickin' air, 35 yards, pray for a fair catch, and we'll send our defense out on the field. That was the strategy you had to go with Devin Hester because he could make you pay in a heartbeat. He was another level player that I don't know if we'll ever see a punt returner like him ever again.
So was that your idea to do that? Was it your idea to say, hey, maybe we should try this? Like this is in my bag of tricks?
Yeah. Well, let's just control it. And now, I was one of the first guys to kind of have that end-over-end kick, the Aussie rule kick. Mm-hmm. And now when you look at these guys have 7-8 different kicks in the bag now. It's incredible. I mean, these guys I couldn't carry these guys jock straps anymore. And I've only been gone for 3 or 4 years.
It's funny you say that. Two things. Number one, it's because of guys like you. It's Ryan Hall and I were talking about this. It's never been easier to be a punt returner now in football because of the end-over-end punts. Because when you would just punt it, if it was a spiral or if it was a little off kilter, just like when you're trying to catch a pass, it's very hard to catch the punt. Now, if it's an end-over-end punt, it's just like a kickoff. You know how the ball's going to fall. So it's never been easier that way to be a punt returner.
That way, but I can control that thing. I can put it on anywhere I want. I can hit a 4.7, 40 yards where I'm going to have 2 gunners coming down that are already going to be in your face. So you're thinking, this might be easy to catch right now, but if I return it, I'm getting absolutely my head smashed in the NFL where there's no 5-yard halo rule. Yeah. So there's a lot more to think about it than just catching it. Catching it is easier. Kickoff is always easier to catch than a punt because a punt moves like crazy. Yeah. When we turn it over as a spiral, but an over kick's a lot easier. But you're thinking a lot more about what's happening in front of you.
It's funny. Okay, so you're talking about these kickers with different things in their bags, right? So the Argos get a pick 6, Cam Judge, and they kick it off to the Blue Bombers. And Ethan's on the first line wedge, and he helps block it up, and Vavel runs it back for a touchdown. Well, the Argos are like, fuck that, we're not doing that anymore. So they're cross-kicking it, and they're hitting moonshots. And so Ethan now, my 200-pound son, has to go up against a 300-pound backup defensive lineman who's got a full head of steam. I talked to him after the game, he goes, it was nice to return that kickoff for a touchdown, Dad. He goes, but after that, I got my ass handed to me all night long.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I don't care whatever how fast you are, how slow you are. When you're 300 pounds and you get a head of steam in front of you, I don't want to step in front of you. Elephants maybe can't run that fast, but I don't want to step in front of one. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's like.
Well, as Ethan said, but Dad, I'm in no position to be making business decisions. My business decision is I'll get a massage tomorrow. That's what he said. That's true. Right. Okay, so let's talk about another thing in the NFL. Micah Parsons, is he going to stay in Dallas? Is Jerry going to trade him? And Jerry, once again, pay your guys early, man. Then you don't have this stuff.
Well, when we had that thing last year where you have the quarterback, your franchise player supposedly, Dak. And he signs a contract an hour and a half before week 1? Yeah. What have you been doing the last 5 months? That's a bad look. It's bad for the team. It's bad for everyone. we're at the point right now, and I said this about Al Davis too, and it might be a little harsh, but I can say this to you, Ballsy. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys will ever be a good team. I don't think they'll ever win a Super Bowl ever again as long as he's on this side of the earth. Until 100%. He's 6 foot under. And I said the same thing about Al Davis. Has had an iron grip on that team. He wanted to run everything. He wanted to be the GM. He wanted to send down coaching plays. He wanted to do the whole thing. And I see the same thing with Jerry Jones. And I don't think he's mentally equipped anymore to do that.
You know what? Great analogy, because Al Davis had a lot of innovations and a lot of things that he brought into the NFL that made it where it is today. This NFL league would not be the most successful professional league in pro sports if not for Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones and his thinking business-wise has really made this league evolve and think outside the box. But he's right. We're at this stage where, remember, Al Davis has the old projector, and he's saying how Lane Kiffin sucks, and he's got these open sores on his face. Remember that? Yeah. That's where we're at with Jerry Jones now. I don't think at a certain point in your life you shouldn't be running a company. You shouldn't be running a sports team. You shouldn't listen. I'll say right now, you and I don't think the same politically, okay? If I was going to vote, I would have voted Donald Trump. But the cheese is slipping off the cracker. Like at some point, you got to pull the pin. Like guys shouldn't be running things. I'm sorry, but they shouldn't.
This is how I compare it. Is you have that moment when your grandpa's 80-something years old and he still wants to drive the car, and you got to take those keys away from him.
Yeah.
Someone's got to take the keys away from the Dallas Cowboys from Jerry Jones, because he can't drive that car anymore. It's not right. I just did that for my dad a few months ago. I said, Dad, you can't drive anymore. The kids were not in his good graces for a while, but come on, it's either that or plowing a farmer's market. I'm not going to have you responsible. Yeah. My dad rolled his car 2 years previously. Now anybody would, but it's like, okay, Dad, it's kind of, you hit black ice. Yeah. But come on now, your reaction time's not the same. So yeah, very interesting there. Okay, so let's talk about this. Before I get into some more weird marketing, I got to talk about this. In Canada, we get all wrapped up into my kid's going to play in the NHL and all that stuff, right? Oh,
and
sure,
that's because that's our sport. If there was one more zero on a CFL check, these guys would be way more legitimate in people's eyes. If you were all of a sudden you're not making 80,000, you're making 800,000. Wow, that's a. My point is this: if you want your kid to play pro football, okay, if that's kind of and he wants to, make him a specialist. Make him a kicker, make him a punter, or have him long snap. He could play for the rest of his life.
I disagree with you.
Okay.
And I think there's been a evolution of the game in that right now, if you go through the numbers, the hardest position in the NFL or the CFL to make is punter.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay. If you look at it, it's the only position on the field that's international. I'm talking the NFL, whatever. Yep. CFL, obviously. It's the only position on the field that's international. If you look at it, we have 1,500 college programs in the USA. 1,500. And these teams don't have one punter. They have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 punters on each team. So the competition is crazy. So you look at it right now, you look at the 20th best punter that came out of the college draft last year.
Okay.
He's bagging groceries. The 20th best quarterback is in an NFL camp.
Yeah, good point.
So when you look at the NFL, there's probably 3 to 5 jobs every year that are turned over because, the average career for most players is 3 to 4 years. The average career for a punter is closer to 5 or 6. It's a little bit higher. So it's a very small, layover or, turnover.
Turnover, yeah.
And so it's so hard to get one of those positions. And if I look right now, if I look at the punters in the CFL, 1 through 10, number 1, American, Australian, South African, Australian. So that means that last year, the best Canadian punter, say he started punting when he was 7, punted his whole life, went to Canadian college, all Canadian. He came out, he's unemployed right now.
Well, that was Randy Ambrosie's stupid. And remember when you said that and everybody attacked you? They're like, "Oh, come on!" And actually, Glenn Suter watched this podcast and he goes, I never really thought, but John Ryan's right. They did attack Canadian kickers.
And I had a conversation with Glenn, a guy who I love and respect because he's been so good to the CFL. I had a conversation with him and he goes, "Yeah, you're right. I didn't realize it until you said it." And I was like, "Thank you." It's an attack on. The fact there is one Canadian punter in all of pro football, and he just got released. Jake Julian.
Crazy.
Okay, I will say, a quick story. Because I had a guy come up to me when I made the NFL. I started punting when I was 7 years old. A guy came up to me and he goes, "I wish I would have started punting when I was 7 years old." I said, "And what did you do instead?" He goes, "Oh, my mom made me play the piano." And I said, "So based on your theory, you must be one of the top 32 concert pianists in all the world." He goes, "No." I go, "What? Then why do you think you'd be one of the top 32 punters in the world right now, asshole?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no matter what you do, you still have to be one of the top 32 in the world. I would say right now, because most long snappers start in high school, I would say that the younger you start at that position, the better. Kickers are different because every kicker is a soccer player. Every single kicker in the CFL, NFL start off as soccer, so they're kicking balls. They kick a million balls, and in high school they transition to football. But I would say if you want a shot at playing college football, the earlier you start long snapping, the better. Once you get to the pros, it's still the top 32 in the world. Doesn't matter when you started, it's the top 32 in the world that are going to get those jobs.
Yeah, so let me backtrack because I can see it that didn't come out of my mouth right. I don't want you to pull a Luke Wilson on me here. Listen. I don't think it's easy to be a punter and a place kicker.
No,
absolutely not. But I do think you'd have more of a chance if, like in particular the CFL, if we gas this stupid global rule. Like this global rule should be gone. Like absolutely gone.
Yeah,
long snappers, I think you do have a chance to be a Jorgen Hughes and be around for a long time.
I agree. Yeah, I think long snapping, it looks so easy on the field. It's one of the hardest skills you could ever imagine. Like, put your head between your legs and then throw a ball back 15 yards on an absolute dart and put it on the guy's right hip. It's not easy to do. So that's why I love those guys. I respect them. But I mean, this. I said right now, if I had a kid, he goes, "I want to play pro football someday," I would say, "Don't punt. You have no shot. You literally have no shot at playing pro football if you're a punter right now. Your very own league has turned your back on you." And I'm trying not to shit on the CFL as much as I used to, Ballsy, because I love it.
Yeah.
But your own league in your own country has turned their back on you, and it just you have no chance of being a Canadian punter anymore. It's sad to me.
Okay, a couple of funny things to wrap up, John. Oh, actually, here's one. I missed this one. Trevor Harris, who is throwing for 70% or better in 11 straight games, or Bo Levi Mitchell, who has his team on a 6-game heater after last year. Probably people don't agree with me, but I think he should have been the MOP last year. Who do you got? That's
who I had written down right there, and I'm going back and forth. Bo Levi Mitchell, and Trevor, they're just ageless.
Yeah.
Bo Levi Mitchell got left to die 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Trevor, I mean, Bo Levi Mitchell's having an absolutely phenomenal year. I think we'd be talking about Zach Collaros in this too if he could have stayed healthy. And then Trevor Harris is like ridiculous. Like what? And Ballsy, I think we've both said it before. We go, the quarterbacks in the CFL aren't what they used to be.
No.
And so I started thinking about this, and I think it's kind of like the cast of Saturday Night Live. Okay? Every cast sucks at the time, and then when you look back 10 years ago, that cast was pretty good. And right now, when I look at it, I go, Bo Levi Mitchell, Trevor Harris, Rourke, Cody Fajardo. All Cody Fajardo does is win. Okay? Yeah. I know he's taking a team that's not good, and he's been in the last 3 games. Okay? Yes. And that's not a slight to Trey Ford, because I absolutely love Trey Ford. I sat beside him for a whole season. I absolutely love the guy, and he's a great quarterback, fantastic athlete. But the quarterbacks are better than we think right now. And I caught my own self saying it. Because I was like, the Anthony Calvillos and all that, it's gone now. I'm like, oh, shit. We got Bo Levi Mitchell throwing the ball over the damn field. Trevor Harris, I think he just turned 57 years old, and he's throwing the ball all over down. Like, it's fun to watch. Let's embrace this, because I don't know if it's a golden time of quarterbacks, but it's not as bad as what we were talking
Well,
about.
we need to focus on the fact that we won't have BLM, Zach Claros, and Trevor Harris forever. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. The report, O'Shea hates media. Like, O'Shea hates media, okay?
Yeah.
So he's on, they're asking him, so, like, do you kind of have to live with him throwing interceptions? He goes, live with him? If you mean we've been putting up with greatness all this time, yeah, I'm okay with that. It's like these guys are stammering when they're interviewing him. So yeah, I said I'd take Trevor Harris just because 39. I really believe he needs to win this. He needs to win the Grey Cup as a starting quarterback for his legacy. I don't think you can consider him an all-time great unless he. I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because I think Kevin Glenn is one of the greatest of all time, and he never won a Grey Cup.
And Kevin Glenn was kind of like a career 1.5 star. He was never really a backup, but he was never really a starter. Mm-hmm. He was. I played with him back in 04 and 05 in Winnipeg. He's
Vernon Adams. He's Vernon Adams.
Yeah,
Vernon Adams is him.
And just is he a Hall of Famer?
I think he is.
Will he be? I agree.
I hope he's not right now.
You.
I hope he is. Like, look, I know I'm going to go Chargers on you, but Phillip Rivers should be a Hall of Famer. He didn't win a championship. He's got all the San Diego stat. Like, he's the best Charger quarterback of all time, and Dan Fouts is in. He never won a championship.
Oh, I agree with you 100%.
You know, and that's who I think Trevor Harris is. I think Trevor Harris is Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers would be throwing to fucking janitors, and he'd have 4,000 yards passing. Trevor Harris has all the mobility of your microphone. He can't move anywhere. But he's like Phillip Rivers. He had no mobility either. He'll stand in there. He'll throw guys open. He's got great football IQ. I think he's Canada's Phillip Rivers.
And he's a terrific guy, by the way, as well. I played with him in Seattle for a little bit. He was in Seattle for a month or so, and he was just one of those guys that you gravitate towards. And he's a great guy. He still keeps in touch with me. He actually messaged me yesterday, so I absolutely love the guy. And he's the guy you cheer for, and I love that because that's what I love doing. Because he's like, what a great guy.
Well, he's mad at me. No shocker, because I had said the Riders should look at bringing the next guy, get the next guy in here. Not that he's not a good quarterback, not that he's not an all-star, but he should go on a team-friendly deal, and they should be looking for a Mayer or a Ford, which they ended up getting Jake Mayer. But he's rammed it up my ass with his with his play, and duly noted. I can take it. I can take it.
This Ballsy apology tour, man. I don't know what's going the fuck on.
Oh fuck! I'm not apologizing. but hey, he's doing it. I got to tip my cap. Okay, so here we go. You gotta help me out on this. Okay, you're in your boardroom. Okay, would you ever go? I think you would. Okay, how about we just have a series of dildos thrown on the court? Look at that. Maybe you wouldn't, but here's my question: is this the wackiest marketing thing that you could ever come up with, or is this really, really, really shitty security? Because how can this keep happening?
I think it's shitty security. I mean, you know what? To get into these arenas, you have to have a clear bag, unless you have a Clutch Woman bag made by Sarah Colonna. If you guys don't know this, the only bag you can get to an arena, a football stadium, is Sarah Colonna's Clutch Women bag. She patented this.
Where do we get that?
ClutchWomen.com. It's the only bag that you can get into a game with that's approved, doesn't have to be clear. And you cannot fill it. And it depending on your preference, you can't really fit a dildo in there. Okay? But,
I can't believe we're talking about it. But
But
it's a topic.
It's a woman-created, fully female run brand with a fully female-operated factory. It's pretty cool. Made in the USA.
Wow!
But it's the only bag you can get into football stadiums. But going back, I'm plugging my wife here.
Yeah, that's good. I love that. That's good.
But how does this happen? I don't know if people are keystering.
By the way, I'm happy.
By the way,
I'm happy. By the way, I'm happy you're plugging your wife that way on my podcast. Okay. Okay. Tying into the old.
The other one doesn't come on the podcast.
That's right. Okay, so how do you think this is getting in then?
I don't think it's a stunt by the league by any means, because they are really trying to get the younger demographic. I think they're really targeted towards the young female demographic. I don't think this is a stunt. I don't know why it keeps on happening. I think it's more embarrassing that how this keeps on happening. But when I saw you sent that to me this morning about one of the topics we were going to talk about, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to respond to this.
I'm glad you plugged your wife's thing. Okay, lastly, we all do this, okay? So I saw this survey. Here's some extremely unhygienic things that everybody does. I'll see how many of these you do. Do you eat while you bowl?
No.
Because think about it. You can do that.
In Canada, we have more of the 5-pin bowling, right?
Yeah, but there's 10-pin, and
Okay,
there's
okay.
There's a canteen.
You put your 3 fingers right up in that thing. Okay, you don't know whose finger's been right up in that thing. You do not eat while you bowl. Absolutely the F not.
Okay.
No, you drink while you bowl. You drink. I played in Wisconsin for 2.5 years. You definitely drink when you bowl. You do not eat.
How about putting your filthy suitcase on your bed when you get home from a trip? Do you do that?
I don't do that. Goes right in the closet. No, it goes right in the closet.
Yeah, because a lot of people do that. Okay, that's good. You're a clean guy. I think Americans do this more than Canadians. Wear their outside shoes in the house. I see a lot more Americans when I was down there. They wear their outside shoes in the house.
So Canada, we always take off our shoes when we walk in the house. It's a respect thing. The U.S., they never do. And I was living here for a couple of years, and they're like, I don't want your sweaty feet or your sweaty socks on my hardwood floors or in my carpet. I was like, okay, it kind of makes sense, I guess, but I also don't want your dirty-ass shoes on my carpet either. So when someone said it to me like that, I was like, okay, maybe they have a point.
I used to go to my buddy Dean's house when we were growing up in the East End here, and every time I'd go visit his house, his mom would have the carpet like it was like a golf course. It was manicured,
raked one way.
Yeah, and we always had to put on slippers. She had a box of slippers, and you put on slippers. You had to wear slippers, which I thought was it's kind of offensive, but then after all, it's like no, it makes a hell of a lot of sense.
It's very sanitary. I respect it. It's very sanitary. Yeah. I would never ask someone to do that in my house, but good for her.
How about this one? People letting their cats walk on their dining room tables or kitchen counters. Do you have cats?
Ballsy. I have 3 cats.
Do you let them do that?
I let them do whatever the F they want. I really do. I know it's gross. My wife and I were like, get your furry butthole off my island. But we don't do anything about it. And now they're too far gone. We can't go back. And I know it's disgusting.
Nice though, because like my brother has a cat, Charlie. He's like he's a nice looking cat, but he is vicious. Like my brother, when I stayed there one night, I said, "Can you take your cat out of the bathroom? Because I got to take a piss." And the scratching post was in the bathroom. And he wouldn't let me in there. Like
they're all very nice. There's 2 of them that are very we had them for years. My wife traps cats in the backyard, and then we get them spayed or neutered, and then we release them. She does it almost every night, so we're cat lovers. But our cats are very nice. They're still a little timid, but one of them we've had for 4 or 5 years now. He's very, very kind.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you.
I never thought I'd be a cat guy ever. The things you do for your woman.
I'm not a cat guy, and when cats turn me off. Like I got a little dog here. Sometimes he pisses me off too, but cats turn me off. So I was living in Estevan when I got my first radio job, and I stayed with my godmother because Estevan on a radio salary of $1,300 a month. Okay, you want to talk about CFL cash flow, low radio, getting into it. So I stayed with my godmother, and she had a cat, and she went for the weekend, and my then wife came up to visit me, and the cat got choking up hairballs, and you know how it's and there's all these.
It's a whole show.
All this orange shit everywhere. So I just put him downstairs, put the food, everything, and that was where he stayed for the whole weekend. And I was like, that's it, I'm done with cats. And they don't seem very friendly. Like, it's like, I don't know, the cats I've experienced haven't been very friendly. So that's why I'm not a cat guy.
You grow to love them. I never thought I'd be a cat guy. And then now I'm the bougie, like rubbing my face and his. You know what I mean? Like I never thought I'd be that guy.
Okay, and that's the other thing.
Look at me now.
The other unhygienic thing, okay? So your cat, I don't really watch cats. I'm not a cat connoisseur. How do they clean themselves? So they lick themselves everywhere, and then you let your cat lick you on the face. My dog is over here in the corner licking his ass and his balls, and then he goes up my girlfriend's chest and licks her face, and then she says, "Hey, you want a kiss?" No, I don't want a kiss.
No.
Lick his balls.
I have a male cat, and he has the 2 sisters. He cleans them. He makes sure they're clean. Then he's got the hairballs, but he's not allowed to lick me.
Wow.
And also, the cat's tongues are like sandpaper. They're not like dogs. Dogs have like a human tongue.
Yeah.
Cats have like a sandpaper tongue. It's very gross.
Very gross. We've covered a lot of topics. This is the most we've ever
Yeah.
covered. This is the most
Yeah.
topics we've ever covered. So once again, where can we get the only approved bag to take in so we can smuggle more dildos into games?
Clutchwomen.com.
Clutch Women?
Yep. It's Sarah Colonna's. She's had it for. It all started. She came to one of my games and she had to have a clear bag and she had
Rider
to have
game?
A Seattle game. She started. They started this when I was in Seattle. It started about 8 years ago.
Okay.
And she's like, "Why does everyone have to see my frickin' tampons in this bag? That's not right." You know what I mean? So I'm going to make a bag that can fit into, can come into the game with it's not clear, and still be within all the rules. And a lot of people say, "Well, I can't get that into my stadium." Like if you read the fine print, you can get it into the stadium.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, man, good. I'm glad I could plug her. I'll only take 5%, okay?
That's fair enough.
Thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon, bro.
All right, buddy. Anytime.
Okay, so like 30 years calling Stampeder games. I haven't talked to you since or about it. You probably thought you'd seen everything, and then you come to Regina and it's a canceled game or a postponed game to the next day. What was that like for you, Mark?
Well, it was pretty weird. You're right. You don't expect to see that kind of stuff. It didn't look good when we got up and then came to the stadium. It was dragged out. Obviously, went on too long. I think the league needed to get a better handle on it. And by the way, I was at the delay in Edmonton on the weekend, so I'm probably the only guy that saw both delays or two of them. Not much you can do about it. It's resulted in a pretty big bill for both teams. They got hit pretty hard. Rough Riders had to basically host another home game with no more ticket revenue, and Stamps were stuck scrambling. So there's not much they can do about it. My only critique is much better communication from the Rough Riders and the league as to what was going on. It was, people were telling us that they were getting their information from us on the air, that we had more information, which isn't really the way it should be. And I feel for the fans, too, that came there. I know that a lot of fans came there Friday for the game and then the Country Music Fest the other 2 days. So, there's not much you can do about it. It was weird. I hope we don't have to go through anything like that, but I think we'd be crazy to think that somewhere down the line there aren't going to be more delays.
Yeah, for sure. Where did you end up staying? Did you get back in the Hotel Sask, or where did you end up going?
U of R.
So I heard it was like 4 to a dorm. Was that you too? Were you with 3 other guys, like college for you, or what?
We were blessed. There was only 2 of us, so I don't know how that worked out. But yeah, it was. But it was odd. That's for sure. It was very different. But given the circumstances, I think everybody did a great job. I have no idea what the alternative was because they ended up in 3 different places. The Hotel Sask. Doubletree, I think it is, and the U of R. So full credit, the Rough Riders helped the Stampeders out, realizing that the Stamps were in a humongous jam, and it worked out. But it was strange, and hopefully they learned from it because there's going to be another one, maybe not identical, but certainly similar.
So it's a week-to-week league, and after that week, I think it was pretty synonymous, especially with what Calgary went through. They were the best team in the CFL, and I think all things being equal, and they may never be equal the rest of the year because teams go through ebbs and flows with injuries. But if everybody was equally healthy, I do think Calgary's got the most talented roster. At least that's my opinion. But, man, things have changed. Now all of a sudden the Riders are on top. But you are getting back reinforcements this week against the Bombers, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like all signs point to Vernon Adams coming back and being the starting quarterback. I'm not quite comfortable enough just to put the nail down and say he is, because sometimes concussion symptoms rear their heads again in different ways. That's actually what happened last week. I didn't really think he was going to play last week, but anyway, those are how those things rear their head. He did do some work, didn't feel good, did all the work he was supposed to do today, and I have every reason to think that he'll be the starting quarterback. I guess he'll have to pass a couple more medical tests. Clark Barnes, a receiver, Canadian receiver, returning probably in the nick of time. So it looks like Jalen Philpott is again going to miss a game. So they need some help. They've been hard hit with a lot of injuries, but they're not alone. I look at other teams, and they have some pretty heavy injury tolls of key players as well.
So when you look at the Stamps, though, in the last 3 games, besides the injuries, I don't know, is troubling the right word to use? We're still early, but what are some of the signs that maybe you don't like to see from this team right now?
Well, I guess the one thing is the humongous penalty totals they've had in the last two games. Up until about 2 weeks ago, they were the least penalized team. They've taken a lot of penalties and largely on special teams. In fact, even in Ottawa, a touchdown was taken off the board. I know that happens from time to time, but that would be the one thing I would like to see them clean up a little bit. The running game has fallen below the standards it had earlier in the year. It's still good, still got good players. So those would be the two things I would like to see them, clean up a little bit and turn around, and they've lost the turnover battle too. So hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been to the standards they were earlier in the year either.
So why do you think the running game is kind of not up to what it was, I won't say par, but what it was running at early in the year?
Well, part of it is last week against Ottawa, they had some ratio issues, so they couldn't play Mills as much as they would have liked to have. When Vernon Adams in there, he's an extra running back, and he wasn't in there for one game, and maybe the game just didn't lend itself to running, and those are some of the reasons. But it's still very good, and still will carry the team a long way. But kind of took a bit of a sidetrack in their last game in Ottawa and the Montreal game too. And let's not forget, Montreal is a very good team still.
Yeah, so I don't fire anybody on my show. I'm sure you don't either. But I will tell you that that win by Ottawa, I think, may have saved Bob Dice's job. I know he got the 1-year extension. I know Sean Burke gave him the old kiss of death, the old, hey, you got a vote of confidence from me. But if they lose that game with Calgary coming in injured, I don't know how Bob survives that. So I like Bob Dice, think he's a good guy. I know we don't play for participation medals, but that may have saved his job, honestly.
Oh, I'm with you on that totally. And I don't campaign for people to lose their jobs, but we can't be naive here and look at the record and just dismiss it. And, obviously it worked out, and they've got another game with Toronto. If they win that, they've kind of salvaged their season coming up, and it's doubly difficult in Ottawa when on his staff is a ready-made head coach there, Rick Campbell. So, it worked out. They played well. They're fully deserving of the win against the Stampeders. And, if they win another one against Toronto, they take a bit of a leap forward. Right now, they're still near the bottom, but I'm with you. I think, because there wasn't a great crowd there. There wasn't a great crowd the game before. We can sit here and talk about it, and the GM can give them a vote of confidence. Once the people start, changing their mind, you can't really fight that. You got to be smart. The fans don't decide this, but they certainly play a role.
Yeah, for sure. That's the great Mark Steven joining me here for a few more minutes, and I appreciate your time. You were in Edmonton, okay? They are, I think they're a better football team. Like, they're playing better. Their defense looked remarkably better against the Riders and pretty good against Hamilton. Keon Julian Grant doesn't drop a pass like that. Probably catches it in his sleep 9 times out of 10. If he catches it, they win the game, but they still lose. They're 1-6. They're still crappy record-wise. How do you see? You were there. Your son works for the Elkamos, as I like to say. How do you see that football team?
Well, they're clearly in a desperate spot right now. I mean, they seem to get in their own way a lot. You're right about the drop touchdown pass. There's also a play earlier in the game where they tried to plow it in from the 1. They thought they scored. They took it off the board. I can't say for sure. It looked like where I'm sitting, but trust me, I was not right at ground level or anything. They struggle to get out of their own way. I think they've just got to go with Cody Fajardo for as long as it takes them. And, they did lose some people. Their linebacking core, I think, is tremendous. But, they finally got the ground game going. But they do seem to get in their own way a lot. And we'll see where it goes because, the heat's already on. I mean, while I was there, people have zero faith in the team. They're just, after that first drive and Hamilton just went down and just flew into the end zone after about 3 plays, people sitting around me were saying, oh my goodness, is the bottom about to fall out? It didn't. They actually played pretty well, I got to say. Both quarterbacks did. But yeah, it was, there's not a lot of hope in Edmonton. They've got to find a way to recapture that. Maybe they will this week in Montreal because Montreal's been Jekyll and Hyde. They were tremendous against the Stampeders, not so good last week, so we'll see where it goes. But there is a high element of frustration there. And the thing they've really got to guard against is being out of the playoffs again by Labor Day, and that could happen. I mean, this isn't Mark Killam's doing to have the team, but, the last few years it's happened, and it's his job to fix it.
So, Mark, I would have said VA as the MOP before he goes down, okay? And it's a week-to-week league. So I'm going to take VA out of the equation and just give you an either-or here, okay? You're not the voice of the Stamps for this question. If you had to pick an MOP between these two choices, Bo Levi Mitchell or Trevor Harris? Who's the MOP right now?
Yeah, it's a very tough one. There's not much to choose. Maybe if you ask me this question in a week, I'll have a different answer. But today it's Bo Levi Mitchell, just the way he's taken the charge of things. I know Trevor Harris is 7-1, did miss a game, but overall I would say it's Bo. But trust me, this is not a runaway by any means. And yes, in a couple weeks it could be turned completely upside down. But Bo is really in charge. He looked very good, and even did that quick kick thingy that he tried, and he's running a little more. So I would say it's Bo Levi Mitchell. But again, if we come back on in 2 weeks, I may have a different answer.
So I'm going to ask you, as a guy who sat up in the booth for 3 decades, when you watch Alford play, the receiver, does he remind you of Pitts? Does he remind you of another guy? Like I know he's a good straight line receiver right now, probably has a lot to learn in terms of route running, but just your thoughts on watching him play.
Well, I would say that's probably very close. Also, S.J. Green, who played in the league as well. Those are 2 guys that kind of come to mind immediately. He had that great career with Montreal. It's because they're big. He's a little leaner than those 2 guys. They're a little bulkier. He also has the great catch radius and has an extra gear like Green did, and Pitts did to a point too. So those would be the 2 guys that come to mind when I look at him. I don't know if he's going to play this week or not. He's still fighting a bit of an injury, but those are the 2 guys that he reminds me of. I think he's a tremendous find by the Stampeders. And you're right, he's still got something to learn. I get it that he's attracted a lot of attention with 5 touchdowns in 3 games, but still lots to learn. But still, that's a great starting point that he's fashioned for the Stampeders this year.
2 things. I scratched my head. Why would they let Sean McEwen go? But then I watched the O-line play against the Riders, and I was front and center to watch them beat Winnipeg in Winnipeg. I'm like, well, they obviously made the right call there. And then I'm like, Mike Rose gets let go. But then I watched this Hutchings kid. Man, he's a great player to watch.
Yes, he is. He came in at the end of last year, and they were very happy with him, and he's just continued to go. He's quite a force inside, combining with Miles Brown, the free agent pickup from Saskatchewan. So they're both really good. They've shut down the run, which was a priority, and they didn't do a good enough job last year. But no, the 2 of them are very good, and that's a big difference. Yes, it was tough to move on from people like James Vaughters now with Winnipeg and Mike Rose, but a year ago they were last, and you have to make the bold moves, and those were 2 of them. But they've really solidified. Their defense has been really good over the course of the first 8 games of the season here.
Well, when the Bombers were in Calgary the last time, they were going out regardless win or lose to the Stampede the next day. They stayed 1 extra day. It looks like they went to the Stampede a day early when I watched that game. Zach Collaros doesn't usually serve up pick sixes like that. He threw 2. So the rematch here now, Calgary's already won the season series, but they get back Collaros, they get back Stanley Bryant. Your thoughts on what you expect to see in this game, Winnipeg and Calgary?
Well, I'm looking forward to it very much so because, as you say, Collaros is back and see what he does. But it's a big challenge for the Stampeders. The guy, frankly, they got to be the most worried about, as I see it, is Jefferson. I think he's fantastic. I think he changes the games out there. He's like a 13th offensive player almost, making things happen. So, that'll be DeMurray's job this week to try and rein him in. We'll see if he does. Nobody else has had a lot of success against them. But Winnipeg remains a very good team. I know they've had struggles. At times, Zach Collaros has not looked himself, to be very honest, but they do have a good receiving core. It looks like they're going to get Dylan Mitchell, who at least played Dylan Mitchell. For some reason, he was parked in the equipment shed for the first half of the season, but they're going to play him. So they remain a good team, and I'm sure they want to get something against the Stampeders because, the Stampeders and them could be battling for second and third behind Rough Riders. Don't know, but if the Stampeders, they already have the season series, they don't want to Winnipeg face a sweep.
Hey, man, thanks for your time. Hopefully I can run into you this weekend in Calgary.
I'll be there. Looking forward to it. Forecast looks tremendous, and I think it should be a very good game. And looking forward to the Stampeders continuing to roll it home.